Namaste, friends. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving into one of the most fascinating and sometimes frustrating stories in international politics, the evolving ties between India and China, two ancient civilizations, two modern giants, and one very complicated relationship. Are they warming up to each other, or is this just a diplomatic situationship with smiles in public and suspicion in private? Stick with me because by the end of this video, you will see how this not only affects India and China but also shakes up power like the United States. And who knows, you might just learn something that surprises you. So, our first chapter begins with history and border disputes. Let's rewind the clock a bit. India and China share more than just spicy food and ancient wisdom. They also share the world's longest unfinished homework assignment, a border dispute stretching over 3,800 kilometers. Now, history hasn't exactly been a fairy tale. The 1962 war left scars, and the fast forward to 2020, deadly clashes in the Himalayas reminded both nations that peace in the region is about as fragile as a glass teacup on a bumpy train ride. Troops were deployed, trust levels sank, and suspicion became the default setting. Here's the twist. Despite the frostiness, the two countries can't quite stay away from each other economically. Trade between India and China crossed $118 billion, with China as India's second largest trading partner. Think about it. India relies heavily on Chinese imports, electronics, raw material, machinery, you named it. So while soldiers may glare at each other on the border, businessmen on both sides are too busy shaking hands over deals. But of course, the dependence is a double-edged sword. For example, when China curbs exports of key commodities, entire Indian industries feel the pinch. It's like being stuck in a love-hate relationships. You can't live with them, but living without them is even harder. Now comes 2025. After years of cold shoulders, things seems to be thawing a little. Prime Minister Modi recently visited China, the first trip in 7 years. This visit led to some promising moves. Tourist visas are back, pilgrimage routes to Tibet are open again, and both sides even signed agreement on border management, promising peace and tranquility. Sounds nice, right? Almost like a fresh start. But let's be honest, this is less like a honeymoon and more like cautious dating after a very messy breakup. Because underneath all the smiles, the big issue remains. The border dispute is still unresolved. China's cozy friendship with Pakistan keeps India on edge. And let's not forget water security concerns with China's dam on shared rivers. So while the photo ops may look warm, the reality is trust is still missing. Both sides are basically saying, we'll work together, but we'll also keep an eye on each other. Now here's where things get even more interesting. For years, the US and India were seen as a natural partners, a team to balance China's rise. But lately, things are little complicated. With US tariffs on Indian goods and friction over India's energy ties with Russia, Delhi seems to be hedging its bets. And who's happy to step in? Yep, China. Meanwhile, Washington is watching this closely, worried that India getting too close to Beijing could upset the carefully built Indo-Pacific strategy. It's basically like a love triangle. India in the middle and the US and China on either side. Except instead of roses, they are exchanging tariffs, submarines and infrastructure deals. So what's the future? Well, don't expect a Bollywood-style happy ending anytime soon. Instead, think of it as a slow dance and occasional missteps. Both sides know that outright confrontation would be disastrous, but neither is ready to trust blindly. India will continue engaging economically with China because it has to, while also strengthening its security alliances through the Quad with the US, Japan, and Australia. China, on the other hand, will keep trying to lead Asia without pushing India away too far. So, the big question is, can India trust China? Short answer, no, not really. At least, not fully. History, geopolitics, and strategic interest make trust a very tall order. What we are seeing instead is caution cooperation, a sort of let's get along for now, but don't turn your back type of arrangement. And that's what makes this relationship so fascinating because it doesn't just shape Asia's future, it has ripple effects for the entire world. Trade routes, security alliances, global power balances, all of it hinges on how India and China manage this high stakes chess game. So, will this story turn into a genuine partnership or remain a polite handshake covering layers of mistrust? That's the million-dollar question. And trust me, it's the story to watch. After all, in international relations, Just like in life, the most interesting stories are often written between the lines of diplomacy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.